Oh, buddy, let's go. Let's freaking go. Everything we have talked about for the last month has slowly but surely began to come to fruition, baby. And what we talked about in our last AMC video, one of the scenarios that we talked about was a potential gap above this range during earnings, right? Now, I can't see the future, right? I'm not a tellteller, whatever you want to call it. Globe rubber, where they rub that little mystery globe. But what I can tell you is AMC is predictable. It is very, very predictable, especially around earnings that you see volatility increase. And once I saw this kind of hightail back the other direction the day before earnings with a weekly bullish hammer close, it became very obvious to me that something was going to happen. The news was out on the street, and AMC was going to come back with some really, really positive earnings, guys. Some really, really good stuff. So what I would anticipate you to do, although it would suck and you could hold this, you're on top of this gap. You actually are starting to bounce off of it while holding the 50-day EMA. But what I'd like to see is a quick retest and close out of this gap. And that would also confirm the bounce off of this trend line for the fourth time, right? And we've went over this trend line, and this is why this was such a key spot in AMC's history here is you went up. God, I wish I saw that. I didn't see it. I believe the stat was like you went up 20%, 30, 60, 40. So you bounced pretty dramatically every single time you've tested this dang on wedge, and then you faked out the bears successfully. So if you're able to close this gap on low volume and then pump, this may be the time where you can expect a nasty move off of AMC. We posted on Twitter going over our bull case thesis that we've been covering over the last month on AMC, saying that I don't know personally what is going to come out fundamentally, but what I do know and what I can confirm is that a lot of these lagging macro indicators are beginning to curl up in the bull's favor. And that is the first time you've seen that since 2020. I don't want it to be this naked shorts. There's no way it goes up, right? Of course those things are happening, but what you can confirm is what the chart is telling you, and the chart has not done this in a very long time, guys. AMC, when it was at 40, 60, 70, at the current fundamentals, that was overvalued. AMC is now bargaining a value play. If they can figure out their debt situation, you're in a really, really strong situation where GameStop has the best fundamentals it's ever had. It's got a cult following and like a 20% short interest. You're telling me that those three things plus $9 billion in cash, $500 million in Bitcoin, those things are going to propel that stock to insane levels. AMC is going to follow with it, right? This is a recovery play. You are saving the movie theaters. We talked about a 2-year wedge breakout, and you formed the same double bottom that you did the previous all-time high, or all-time low, excuse me. So this is that wedge that we were talking about, trading within for the last 2 years. Really, really just choppy price action. And this has been a really solid point in time to accumulate more shares if you bought in way too high. Going into the double bottom that we were talking about, AMC is in a very unique opportunity to where if you can hold this breakout and if you can have volume step in here to go with the fundamentals, then you can potentially squeeze out shorts just like you did here. Double bottom into the January squeeze, double bottom potentially into the September-October squeeze. Very, very possible with the Bollinger Bands at the tightest they've ever been on this stock. And in case you are unaware of what the Bollinger Bands are, they're frequently called the squeeze bands. John Bollinger created them to go over extended periods of choppy price action that eventually become so coiled that volatility ensues, right? And it doesn't give you the prediction of up or down. It just says volatility is going to ensue when these coils are set. And currently they are set. The coils on AMC are stretched as far as they can go, right? And now you would expect some kind of dramatic move to the upside or downside. I'm a little biased that I think it's going to be to the upside, especially with all the other indicators that we've talked about, right? This is just another snapshot of what gets me so bullishly convicted in this play. You can see back in 2020, 2021, that was when you began curling up on your quarterly MACD. You've now seen an extreme oversold MACD and a curling up for the first time in 5 years, going into the pinnacle of this wedge and the pinnacle of the tightest Bollinger Bands. With positive fundamental change, this thing has gaps above it. $19, $43, and I believe $13. All of these things line up. You look for technical confluence, and if this thing can do the dirty, if this thing can break the wedge, get above the daily 200-day EMA, it's going to have a golden cross for the first time since 2021. And that is what you're looking for on AMC. If you are a bull and you want to see this thing absolutely annihilate people, annihilate short sellers, annihilate the bears that have doubted this stock and bet against retail for years and years and years, you need this thing to pick up the steam. More fundamental good news come out. You have the week or the daily MACD about to cross green, which is good. You had that back here, right? Before you pumped like 30%. So 30% from this current trajectory would lead you above the 200-day EMA. Now, this is where it starts to get critical, because every single time you've tested the 200-day EMA, you've done it with volume, with extreme moves. You did it back here. This was a 10% move on the day. You did it back here. This was, it says 1%, but you can see the wick down. That's about a 5% move. You did it back here, and you tested it to the T perfectly. And we all know that that was about like a 300% move. 312% move into the 200-day EMA rejection. You did it back here. You actually closed right beneath it. Like, that is as critical as a rejection can be. Closing right below it, going from 30 up to 54. It's about an 80% move on AMC. You did it here, which was about a 94% move on AMC. So if you're able to crack this thing for the first time in years, guys, that is going to be one of the largest and the biggest things to happen on this chart for quite some time. And that will signify that the bulls are beginning to take control on the AMC chart. As soon as you gap above and hold the 200-day EMA, this 50 that you're sitting on right now currently is going to begin to curl up. And that is why it is so crucial that once you fill this gap, you regain the 50. Because if you regain the 50, it is only a matter of time before you get that golden cross. And when you get that golden cross, guys, I will be here. It is going to be stupid. It is going to be a beautiful day, because you're going to see a lot of people who have been down on this stock begin to pile back in. And I think that's what you're already seeing. So I'm very excited for that to happen. Quick call to action, guys. We're at 106 subscribers. Absolutely demolish the subscribe button. We're trying to build this momentum and build this steam on this train. We're going to continue to do DD and chart analysis on AMC, GME, Bitcoin, crypto, Neo, a lot of risk on assets every single day. So I want to have you guys be a part of the journey, and I want to build something special. So drop the subscribe button, guys. Now let's get back into it. The macro picture on AMC. This trend line that has held sturdy since June, you will be touching at around 650. 650 is going to be crucial because of a couple things, right? 560 is that previous resistance back when AMC was diluted. Let's forget about that, right? But going into 650, you have a genuine chance to break it once you get above this wedge and once this golden cross happens, probably sometime in about October because these indicators are lagging. By then, it'll be about $6 flat, and I think if you have the steam and the momentum, it is very possible that you break this trend line for the first time ever. That's the train. Sorry, guys. It is very, very possible that you break this trend line for the first time ever. And AMC macro news, you beat earnings. You beat earnings, which is a very, very good thing, right? I ChatGPT just because I didn't want to wait for the actual earnings report. I know that a lot of it was released already, but ChatGPT or Grok, right, said AMC earnings or AMC Entertainment Holdings just reported earnings per share at negative 0.011 cent for the second quarter of 2025. Ended June 30th. On adjusted basis, the company reported break-even earnings of 0.00 per share, surpassing the consensus estimate of negative 4 cents a share. For context, the AMC stock price is currently at $3.12 with a year-over-year revenue increase of 35.6% to $1.4 billion. I don't have to tell you that is bullish because what AMC is doing is they are kind of following in GameStop's footsteps. Now, it's not going to be as aggressive and it's not going to be as effective as GameStop's was. But what is positive is they are making momentum, right? It's about a journey that the company goes on, and it's about the recovery of the box office. If AMC can continue to cut costs and expand the top line, it is only a matter of time before they see either A, an acquisition, and they eliminate their debt, B, they see a significant raise in stock price, and then they raise significant capital to change their fundamentals permanently, or C, they just slowly grind out of this, $5 billion in debt now. I think B is most likely. I think with the way that this stock moves, you are most likely to see some kind of extreme movement, especially with how GME is poised, right? I think it's more likely that you see some kind of 2020 to 2021 repeat and dilution at the tops, in my opinion, not financial advice, right? That is what, in my opinion, it's looking like. To give you guys perspective, I know I say GME is poised to do something nasty. GME is still within this bull pennant. And you've just been in this absolutely abysmal trading range since early June 11th. Now you've broken this resistance to the downside. And you're green on the day. You're green 2%, and I anticipate it probably has to do something with AMC's green day as well. The weekly is beginning to curl up for the first time back here. When it started to curl and bearish momentum started to ease, you saw a 69% move. Call it a 70% move. I think it's very likely that with the breakout of this trend line that you see something that takes you up to that $40 threshold. For me, that is what I would be targeting. And I think it is a matter of time before it retests that, as you retested it back here and closed right below it. You're going to look to gain $40. You have to gain it. I think on the daily, it's more of a perfect wick. It is. You literally tapped it. perfectly, closed below it perfectly here. So $40 is a place of significant resistance. And I hope we see that soon, because the pinnacle of this wedge is early September, with the pinnacle of AMC's wedge being closer to October. So I think unless GME breaks down, right, and this is just a terrible bull trap, which it could be, maybe GME breaks down, AMC breaks down, and then you retest the bottom of this range before finally getting relief, which you'd like to see. Let's see, 106 subscribers still. You guys failed me. No, I'm just kidding. This is a recording. I wanted to go to TradingView, and I wanted to cover Doge. We've talked about the conviction that we have on Doge. And I mean, this 5% sell-off is literally, this is the biggest bear trap I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. Because you are coming almost to a pitch perfect inverse head and shoulders, just like we drew out a week ago. I saw the chart back here. I was like, wow, that looks awful like a shoulder. That looks like a head. And then I painted this picture right here that you're going to tap this resistance, come back down to this trend line, which you might not do. It might just be the right shoulder right before it. And then you're going to send. Now, the reason I'm so bullish on Dogecoin is you have an inverse head and shoulders. You regain support. You have a daily golden cross. You have a daily MACD cross, and you're about to cross the MACD on the monthly time frame, which is very bullish. The price target from this inverse head and shoulders, guys, takes you to a new higher high in this trading range. Oops. Takes you to a new higher high in this trading range, which once you break 30 cents, there's not a lot of resistance holding you back from 40 to 50. There's just not. Typically when this thing has broken 30 cents, like it did here, that was literally the top of this candle, you gapped above and went straight to 40. Like you just literally cruised straight to 40. So I would not be surprised to see this thing do the same exact thing as you gear closer towards the macro price targets on Doge. You're going to see resistance at 60 cents here. You're going to see resistance as that was this slap down, absolutely nuking from the price down about like 40%. You're bound to see resistance at 60 cents, and then you're bound to see resistance at the previous all-time high. So let's mark that so you guys get that retrospect. Get that. How close? Oh, I know that top. I know that top so good. So these are your two resistance zones. Of course, the previous local high. And so this is your short-term price targets on Doge, right? Now, is this where I'm taking profit? No, this is not where I'm taking profit. Not financial advice. I'd like to see it get closer to the all-time high, just like Ethereum and just like XRP and all the other cryptocurrencies are doing right now. They're getting closer to their all-time high as we reach this euphoria stage of the bull market. Now, typically why I'm so excited about the rest of the IWM and risk on assets is typically Doge leads the way and GME and AMC follow, or at least that's been the trend recently, right? So if you could see from current price action, a test of 90 cents, I'd probably say is most likely. 90 to 85 cents, a 283% move. You could very well see Dogecoin do something stupid here. Come on. There we go. I already got it overlaid. You guys already know. And you could very well see GameStop do something stupid here, because typically you have Doge peaking, GME peaking 2 weeks later. Doge peaking, GME peaking 2 weeks later. Doge peaking, GME still flat, and then Doge going again, GME still flat, because it's within the pinnacle of that pennant or wedge formation that you're going to see this thing begin to follow Doge and begin to get volatile, right? Especially if AMC starts before it. Doge peaked in March. In May, GME peaks with a monster squeeze. And so at least the last 3 runs, you've seen Doge mimic or front run GameStop. So what my plan would be here, if this continues to follow, is I would look for this daily RSI, bearish RSI on Doge, to confirm your top. Excuse me, it's right here. To confirm your top, I have it circled on every single one of these runs. You do the exact same thing on Doge. You make a higher high in price, but a lower high in the RSI. That is daily strong bearish divergence, to which I would take profit and then roll it into GameStop for that little last pump. It was very, very good here. You had a top into a higher high on price action, a lower high on RSI. You sell here. You're able to get in on GameStop at $9, ride it up to 80. Of course, it's not financial advice. You could get obliterated doing this, but you have to take it case by case. Every single time it's been different, but for Doge, it's been the same. You made a higher high here and then a lower high in the RSI. This led pretty much nowhere for GameStop. And I think this was still during the bear market. And that's why I'm mostly focused on the bull market here, because that has been the most consistent. But there is actually one more example of this bullish or bearish divergence on the RSI for Doge. And I believe it is, where is it? Right here. You make a higher high in price action, but you make a lower high on the RSI. And then you dump. Pretty much 70% every single time. Hasn't failed us in like 2 years. So we will see, guys. We will see. There's a lot of stuff happening. The Fed speaks on September 16th about rate cuts, and the Fed, not the Fed chair. I saw this somewhere saying that some part of the Fed has indicated that we will have 3 rate cuts in 2025, and that's when Bitcoin, GME, a lot of risk on assets reacted positively to that news. So I would not be surprised to see that be the catalyst going into September, that a lot of these things begin to go and they start to run like they haven't in a very long time, guys. We can already see that AMC is now going down to fill that gap. So that's what I would expect. Going into earnings, fill the gap, and then strong bounce. You need to bounce at this gap fill level at approximately $2.95. 2 cents or $2.95 is your go time. You have to bounce there. So stay tuned, guys. AMC earnings coming out at the end of the day. I love you all. God bless to all my subscribers. Thank you guys for the continued love and support. I'm going to continue to cover this daily, so please check back in, like, follow, and get outside. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Love you guys, and peace.